Shane favorite. Testing 1, 2.
Those are the floor packets for the interpreter.
There is making more copies of the agenda I made. It's a short, like, double-sided one. We're gonna put people's names on here. We'll put the agendas.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
We'll have
that.
extras. Hello. Whose glasses are these?
I'll just double check. They were left over there. Oh, you know what? These were left from yesterday. So we figured it was someone that went up here on stage to present. You want to leave them in?
I know exactly whose glasses these are. Nathan Thaler.
It might be.
We'll just make a note that Rusty, when he opens, he can say, "Is Mike Thaler here?" Mike, I think we have your glasses.
This is it.
Testing 1, 2.
Good morning, everyone. If we can begin to take our seats, we're going to get started in 3 minutes. We're going to get started in 3 minutes. Thank you. Good morning, California Democrats. Good morning. All right, there's Bill Monroe when I need him. Good morning, California Democrats. Good morning, good morning. We're going to reconvene the meeting of our May 2024 Executive Board meeting here in beautiful San Diego. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We've done a lot of great work. We've done a lot of great work this weekend, and now we've got the opportunity to do some of the business of the California Democratic Party and get ready to win in 2024. Am I right? We're ready to win. To get us started with the best report of the day, the co-chair of the Credentials Committee, Laura Laramendi. Let's give her a hand.
Let's wake up. Good morning, Democrats. All right. First of all, as usual, my shout out to Region 15 and AD 41. Thank you. And a special shout out to our Credentials Committee members. we all work very hard to make sure that all of our members that are eligible to vote and cast their votes, and the proxies are able to cast the votes. So thank your Credentials Committee members whenever you see them, and a special shout out to our goddess, Emma Harper, our staff. She's wonderful. Okay, all right, final credentials report is 322 e-board members were registered. That's an 82% present of our membership of the e-board, so that's really outstanding. Thank you for being here. Is there a motion to adopt a credentials report? Is there a second? Hearing no I have to, gotta ask for a vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank you very much.
All right, as is standard practice for our executive board meetings, especially for our Sunday session, I'll turn it over to our parliamentarian, Kobe King, for a review of the rules and guidelines for these meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Democrats. As the chair noted, these are rules for debate and guidelines. They are the same rules that we always adopt. I will review them very briefly. On any motion, up to three speakers on each side. 1 minute per speaker is the limit. Upon the conclusion of the speakers, up to 6, we will move immediately to a vote. No need for a motion to close debate. We will do voice votes, and if the result is not clear, we'll do a show of credentials. Is there a motion to adopt these rules? Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Kobe. All of you, many of you, probably most of you, clearly most of you participated in the election for our DNC members to represent us, represent California for the DNC for the 2024 to 2028 term. Most of those results were posted last night, but I want to read them into the record here today. But before I do that, I really want to give all of you a big shout out for your participation in this important election. If only we could get this in California, we would be doing really, really well. 97.8 participation, turnout participation in this election. And I certainly want to thank every single person who put their name forward to run in this election, whatever the outcome was. Many of you know how hard it is to put your name out there and put yourself out there, so I want to express my gratitude to all those who did so. I'll just read the results for the other than self-identified female category. Jason Park, Joe Salas, Michael Kapp, David Adkins, Andrew Lackman, Lawrence Zaxon, Otto Lee, Gary Shea, Derek Devermont, and Keith Umamoto. Let's give them a big, big round of applause. Congratulations. And then the self-identified female category, Harini Krishnan, Deborah Cunningham Skernick, Christine Pelosi, Rhodesia Ransom, Sandra Lowe, Annalisa Swan, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, our very own controller, Carolyn Fowler, and our top vote getter for either category, Ada Briseño. Congratulations to everyone. Our next report will be our committee report from our Resolutions Committee. We'll have both ballot measures and resolutions, so help me welcome our co-chairs, Aggie Kessler and Kenneth Armstrong.
Good morning, Democrats. I'm going to go first, and do the resolutions, and then Kenneth is going to do the ballot measures. As you know, those of you who attended, we had our workout 2 different days, Friday and Saturday. Lots of people, lots of hours spent with great results. Thank you so much for those of you who attended. I want to give a special shout out to those who worked so hard with the Resolutions Committee to bring together a very important resolution. I don't know if Mervette and Joanna are in the room. I want to say thank you so much for spending time to work with the committee and the other authors on the Gaza resolution. I know that this is a painful subject for many of us, not only here in the party, not only here in this room, but everywhere, worldwide. And to be able to sit together within our party, within the Resolutions Committee room, and work peacefully together to craft language where everyone agreed that not one person was 100% happy and satisfied, but everybody came away feeling that we crafted language that worked for everyone, and we were all pleased that as Democrats, we spoke with one word, one voice, together. Thank you. It shows that we can be together when we are willing to do the work. So once again, on behalf of the Resolutions Committee and all who committed to this difficult work, this is how it gets done. Thank you. So, what you see in front of you is the result of those resolutions that are coded to be voted on this morning. But let me remind you that there were many more that we discussed, and those are the reaffirmations. The reaffirmations, as well as the product of this morning's outcome, will be posted on the website. I encourage you to please look at those, as well as all the historical ones we have. All right. So, the ones that are in your packet on page 9 are the resolutions we will be voting on. This is a consent calendar. Are there any resolutions that anyone wishes to pull? I see no one approaching the microphones. Therefore, at this point, all in favor of adopting, hold on just a second, I'm sorry, I didn't ask for a motion. So the motion of the committee is to accept the consent calendar. I need a second. Thank you. I hear seconds all over. All in favor of adopting the consent calendar, please say aye now. Aye. You are fabulous. Thank you. And now for the ballot measures, our co-chair, Kenneth Armstrong.
Good morning, everyone. So on Saturday, we met to hear from speakers on ballot measures that will be on the ballot or may be on the ballot, and the committee ask questions, and so we really appreciate the speakers for coming to inform us. On page 13, you see the committee's recommendations, which is presented as a consent calendar. I want to make something really clear. Our rules allow us 4 positions support, oppose, no position, or neutral. And so I want to make clear that the third resolution you see, 220006, the recommendation of the committee is to keep the law. So the website has already been updated or is being updated. That will be the recommendation of the committee to keep the law. And if you all accept it, then that will be the case. So yeah, to be clear, this is a referendum challenging 2022 law prohibiting new oil and gas well near homes, schools, and hospitals. And the recommendation of the committee is to keep the law. So at this time, it would be appropriate if anyone would like to pull an item from the consent calendar. I see one speaker.
This is Michelle Krug, Region 22. I actually don't want to pull anything. I want, if you could just give me one sentence. I'm blind. I, just got the packet. I was walking in. My friend read through the resolutions. Just one sentence.
I believe it was a request to read through the resolutions.
No. The ballot measures, my friend read through the resolutions, but he didn't have time to do the ballot measures. One sentence about what each ballot measure is. That's it.
Oh, sorry. So ballot measures are, they might be amendments to the Constitution or other things that will be voted on by,
One sentence.
At this point, we're taking delegates who'd like to pull something from the consent calendar, so I apologize, but that's what's appropriate at this time.
Not here to pull anything. In fact, I want to thank you for your clarification. I do think that after the passage of AB 421 that many Democrats worked very hard on last year, permitting us to say, keep the law, overturn the law, I think that going forward, this party will need a rules change to permit us to adopt, keep the law, overturn the law in the rare case of referenda ballot initiatives. We need to be very clear in our promotional materials and all of our literature going forward that we are going to keep this law.
I appreciate that. At this point, if anyone wants to pull a resolution from the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. I would like to pull Measure 23-0022, adds one semester personal finance course to high school graduation requirements.
Okay. Is there any other delegates seeking to be recognized? So at this point, there'd be, except for that one that was pulled, a motion to accept the committee's consent calendar. It's been moved, it's been seconded. All those in favor of accepting? All those opposed? Thank you. Okay. So the motion carries. So at this point, we'll have discussion regarding Resolution 23-0022, adds one semester personal finance course to high school graduation requirements. So we'll hear discussion. And again, the committee's recommendation was to support this ballot measure. So we're hearing discussion on the committee's recommendation.
Ask for speakers 3, 4, and 3 against.
We're going to hear speakers 3, 4, and 3 against the committee's recommendation. So if you're for the committee's recommendation.
Do we only have one mic? Yeah.
We only have one mic. I see 3 people, so please line up. The
Just
3
ask
who
them to go
first.
one side or the other to the mic.
The committee's recommendation is to support this ballot measure.
The maker of the motion gets to go first.
Right.
Okay. So the maker, we'll hear from the maker of the motion.
Ask them.
1 minute each, and alternate.
1 minute each, and then we'll alternate. So just say your name and then go ahead, and you have 1 minute.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Kevin Hayakawa. I'm an assistant professor of physics at CSU Channel Islands, an elected school board member for Roland Unified School District. I strongly encourage a no vote on this ballot initiative. While I agree with the importance of personal finance, allowing high school courses and student graduation requirements to be voter initiated creates a slippery slope that could very quickly lead to an untenable situation for our schools and districts. Additionally, this initiative defines inflexibly clear expectations for the course content, number of credits, the fact that this is a requirement that it must be taken and passed in order to graduate from high school would create just another inequitable barrier to success for our students. And also, bureaucratically, it must be A through G approved by both the UC and Cal State system. But to its detriment, it does not address the funding source for the creation of a new course, thus creating an unfunded mandate. And it does not state the core course area. We don't know if it's going to be a math class, an elective, an economics class, and we don't know what the State of California Commission on Teacher Credentialing will
Okay,
require.
that's time. Thank you. And for those who are speaking, FYI, Unique has the cards up. So we'll hear someone in support. So the next person speaking in support of the committee's recommendation.
Good morning, Karen Scher, E-Board Member, Assembly District 42, and elected school board member of the Oxnard Union High School District, and part of CTA State Council, and also an elected representative of the NEA Representative Assembly. I also work for Superintendent Tony Thurman. This is a bill that he sponsors, and we are in full support of this measure. Families and communities are in support of their children learning how to manage their budgets. And it's incredibly important to tackle this, not from the top down necessarily, but from the bottom up. So with regard to the concerns about how these things will be mandated and created, those will be teacher directed, and we need a place to start. So this committee voted almost all in support. There was one no vote. So we are recommending, and I highly am in support of this. I'm also a classroom teacher of 30 years and the director of teacher recruitment for the California Department of Education.
Thank you. So we'll hear from, if there's another speaker against the committee's recommendation.
Steve McDougall, come from Monterey County. I'm CFT's ECTK 12 Division Council President. I wear many hats with CFT. The folks behind this measure never approached CFT. I'm not sure about CTA. You'll have to ask them about what this really needs to get this done and do it right. The elements of AB 100, workplace rights, should have been embedded in it. It has things missing. And schools that have 6 period days are going to have a hard time figuring out to fit this into the puzzle. They should have approached us first. We'll be working against this measure, I'm sure of it, and we will work on trying to amend the legislation that's parallel to this. This is not okay. They should have asked the practitioners first.
So now we'll hear from a speaker in support of the committee's recommendation, if there's another. Is there a speaker in support of the committee's recommendation?
Suzanne Reyna, 34th AD. You know, when we sit here and think about the work that our committees go through in bringing these bills towards us so that we can vote on them, this is something really important. Have you ever been into a McDonald's or a Target and somebody doesn't know how to physically add something because it's not on the computer, or they don't know how to give you your money back because they don't know how to count? This is something that is extremely necessary for our students today. A lot of us that are my age had this when we were in school, and it's been taken away. We need to give this back to our children and stop dumbing them and make them smart again and give them the opportunities that we all had. Thank you for your time.
So we'll hear from one more speaker against the committee's recommendation.
My name is Matthew Hilliard, 81. I'm a social worker. I work with our tribe, the Karuk tribe, and there has been a concerted effort amongst extremely MAGA conservative Republicans to change history class and to remove accurate history of what happened in our state against the California genocide and against a lot of other things that have happened here. So we want accurate history to be taught and not be put on the ballot. Thank you.
So one more speaker in support of the committee's recommendation. Our last speaker.
Sure. Rocky Fernandez, Region 8 Director. Reason why we have to go to a ballot measure for this is because every time we've tried this in the legislature, the banks swoop in and they kill the bill in the very first committee that it comes out of. all right? And I've seen it several times. Most states have this in their curriculum. Is this the right way to do it? Well, it's the only way to do it because we just can't get this through the legislature. You know, I worked for Senator Wojciechowski for years. He tried to introduce this bill and went through that same exact process. The banks don't want kids to get educated about this type of stuff and take out more credit cards and put themselves more in debt. That's why we're trying to do this, and that's why I support the committee's recommendation. Thank you.
In support of this.
Okay, so we've exhausted the speakers. Thank you. So at this point, we'll be voting on the committee's recommendation of support.
So a yes vote on the motion is to support the Resolutions Committee's recommendation. A no vote is to not support the committee's recommendation, and we do need 60% for it to pass.
So we'll try a voice vote first. So all those in favor of supporting the committee's recommendation, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Let's go to cards.
So we're going to go to cards now. So if you are in support of the committee's recommendation, please raise your card and keep it.
We need the counters in.
So we're going to let the counters get in place. Okay. Okay.
Hold on.
So we're getting our counters in place. So everyone put your cards down at this point. Just put the cards down for a second. Okay.
Are
So
the counters in place?
are the counters in place? Okay, thank you. So please raise your card if you are in support of the committee's recommendation, and please keep it up. Nice and high, please.
If you have your credentials around your neck, some of the counters may not be able to see it. That's for both sides.
Okay, you can put your cards down.
Just hold.
Okay, so if you are opposed to the committee's recommendation, please raise your card high and keep it up. math on. You can put your cards down. Thank you.
That is an amazing number.
Okay.
Read it out. Read
So
out the number.
there were 81 votes in favor of the committee's recommendation. There were 54 votes opposed to the committee's recommendation. That's a total of 135 votes, which, so the motion carries. It was exactly 60%.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, everyone.
Before you go, I think we need to thank the committee and everybody who testified.
And so again, thank you to the committee for all of your hard work over the last month and longer. Thank you for the speakers who spoke to us on Saturday and the authors who came on Friday. And thank you to our staff, especially Nick Vaneskal, who does an amazing job for us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right, our next report will be our Rules Committee report with Kobe King and Valeria Hernandez.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So before we do the Rules Committee report, I would very quickly like to ask everyone to turn to page 21, where the minutes from the August meeting are. If there's a motion to adopt the minutes of the August 2023 meeting. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, move to a vote. All those in favor of adopting the motion to adopt the minutes from the August meeting, please say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The minutes from the August meeting are adopted. Thank you. So, all right, so let's move on to the Rules Committee report. Valeria and I would certainly love to thank everyone. So if you're a member of the Rules Committee, and please stand if able and be recognized for all the hard work that your Rules Committee does. I also want to, in particular, you know, like a lot of committees, the Rules Committee in particular, much of our work is done at subcommittees, and the chairs take on a particular amount of the work. And so if there are any subcommittee chairs here, please also stand and be recognized, because that's where a lot of the work gets done. Thank you. And then finally, I want to thank our, I always hesitate to say this word publicly, but indefatigable, is that right? Staff member, Unique Wilson, thank you. And thank all the party staff, especially including Emma and Ben, and for all the work they do. It's a lot of work on the Rules Committee. Okay, so somebody, I think it might have been Carolyn Fowler, once complained about me reading every word of the report. So we're not going to do that. But we do have some things that we need to deal with today. And probably the most important thing is the bylaws amendments that were adopted at a special meeting of the Rules Committee last month and were sent out to everybody in accordance with the bylaws. There are 4 in the packet. The first one that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on is on the ADEMS process. Some of you know we're changing the process again. And then B and C, which Valeria will cover, have to do with making some adjustments for remote meetings for e-boards. And then finally, D is to fix an oversight on allowing undocumented people to become proxies. That was something we discovered recently we hadn't done, and so we are fixing that today. So let's move on to the ADEMs, which is the bylaws amendments that are on page 15 through 18. Yeah, so what we've done here is we've kind of reproduced the entire Article 6, and as usual, the changes are indicated in strikeout and underline. So, as you know, the Assembly District election meetings are held every 2 years. After every cycle, we review everything, we hold hearings, we consult with staff, we consult with many of you, the caucus chairs, a whole bunch of people, and we've made a lot of changes in 21, more changes in 23, and we're making more changes in 25. And I'm pleased to report that these changes that we've implemented over the last few cycles have really done what everyone wanted, which is to eliminate the challenges, to be sure that only those who participate are eligible to participate, and just to make it easier for people to participate and know that the election results are valid. So for 2005, quick summary of the changes we're making. We're moving the date from around the MLK Jr. holiday to being one weekend and consolidating. We used to have 4 days of meetings. Now we're just going to have 2, and the date is going to be determined. It'll be at least 60 days prior to the organizing convention, which will occur next spring. We're also replacing the vote-by-mail system with an online system that will eliminate the need for those participants who are verified, who got vote-by-mail last time, to physically return the ballots. They'll basically be mailed credentials instead of being mailed a ballot, and then they can go online and vote that way, similar to how we did the e-board, the DNC election yesterday. This will also maintain security, and another thing that we're doing is that we're increasing ADA access and access for those whose primary language is not English by doing it electronically. We're also adjusting the procedures for electing an e-board rep in some rare circumstances, maintaining the ability for undocumented persons to be ADEM candidates, providing for at least 2 locations in each region, in-person locations in each region, 1 on each day of the weekend, and maintaining the ability to vote in person at any location in the state. I'm not going to go through each one of these bylaw changes individually, but I will just tell you that this and the procedures that we'll get to in a few minutes implement the things that I just discussed. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to adopt these bylaws amendments for the ADEMs. There's a motion and second to adopt these bylaws amendments to Article 6. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's move to a vote. All those in favor of the amendments, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We'll look forward to the 2025 ADEMs. All right, and I will now turn over most of the rest of this to Valeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. So the next bylaw that we put forth to you before the e-board as the Rules Committee is on page 18 of your packet, item B, the amendment to CDP bylaws, Article 7, Section 5, dealing with executive board voting. So essentially, it just allows for electronic voting. Prior to the pandemic, or during the pandemic, we kind of had to adapt with the times and we did electronic voting. We passed a series of temporary bylaws. So it's really, really simple and straightforward. You'll see in the first line, it strikes in person and replaces it with individually, and that's to allow us to vote electronically. So super simple. Do I have a motion to adopt that amendment? So I have a motion. I have a second. Thank you for the enthusiasm. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That bylaw amendment passes. The next item is on page 19 of your packet. Item C, the amendment to CDP bylaws, Article 14, Section 3, other than in-person meetings. This one, again, super simple. It strikes similarly extraordinary circumstances and replaces it with sufficient cause for doing so despite the above stated preference, which simply means it gives the officers flexibility to determine whether we can have a virtual executive board. Sometimes the venues that we want to have these events, like obviously we all love and support unions, and when there's a union strike, we're not doing that. That's simply not an option. So this gives the officers flexibility. Sometimes we're going to have multiple conventions. So we thought it was important, and I think some of you, we've heard your complaints about wanting to be a little bit easier on the pocketbook. So we heard you. I think you guys are all in favor of this. So do I have a motion to adopt this? Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Awesome. So that motion carries. The next item on page 19, item D, amendment to CDB bylaws, Article 4, Section 6, proxies. As Mr. King stated earlier, you all are familiar, it's been before the body several times where we have tried to be as inclusive as we can, and we've amended our bylaws multiple times to allow for non-citizens to participate in the party, whether it's by appointments or through the ADEM's process to run as candidates. This was simply an oversight. Last convention, we discovered that we hadn't cleared the bylaws so that proxies who were non-citizens could participate. And when I say non-citizens, it's non-citizens who, if they had the ability to be citizens, would in fact register as a Democrat. So this is an effort to make our party more inclusive. So do I have a motion to adopt this amendment? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That amendment carries. So now we'll go on to page 20. Do you want to do that now? This is following up on the ADEM's procedure. So we had bylaws, and these are procedures which are purview of the Rules Committee, and Mr. King is an expert in this field.
Well, I'm not going to discuss the procedures. Just note that the procedures which implement the ADEMs, the changes to which I just described earlier, are online. It's on the Rules Committee. It's on the Rules Committee page, and there's probably a separate page for the ADEMs. But if you want to read the procedures, please go to the CADEM website, and you will be able to find them. And the Rules Committee adopted them yesterday unanimously after making a variety of good amendments. Really good discussion. Took us a little while to get through it all, but I'm very confident we've got a great process set up for the 2025 ADEMs.
Thank you, Mr. King. And to find that on our website, cadem.org/rules. Again, cadem.org/rules. You'll find all that information there. As Mr. King said earlier, a lot of the work that happens at Rules Committee happens at our subcommittees. They do the critical work. And so we had a series of reports from the meetings they've had this year and from our Special Rules Committee, but essentially we heard a report from the Subcommittee on Caucuses, and this is a labor of love, and I think a lot of credit goes to Mr. Lawrence Zaxton for this. Yes. I think this man has personally combed through the bylaws of every single caucus in this committee, so kudos to you, and we appreciate the hard work. So with Mr. Zaxton's work as well as his committee, they put forth a series of recommendations for us to fully approve several caucuses, including the AAPI caucus, Arab American caucus, LGBTQ caucus, Native and senior caucuses. Do I have a motion to accept? Motion second. All those opposed? I'm sorry, all those in favor? Oh, I don't?
We'll just do a motion to accept the report at the end.
I'll do a motion to accept the report at the end. Thank you, Mr. King. Okay, so the other recommendation that came from the committee was to provisionally approve the Black Caucus, Chicano, Latino Caucus, Children's Caucus, Computer and Internet Caucus, Disabilities, Environmental, Filipino, Irish, Labor, Progressive, Rural, Small Business and Professional, Veterans, and Women's Caucus. And then the committee also recommended continued provisional certification of the Chicano Latino Caucus, whose leadership is encouraged to meet with a subcommittee on caucuses to resolve outstanding issues. So that was a report from our subcommittee on caucuses. We also had a report from the County Bylaws Subcommittee, and huge kudos to this committee. They combed through the county bylaws that were submitted to us, and Robin Torello and Glenn, I mean, we've discussed this several e-boards. They really put together a process that we think is going to be successful, and it's a sustainable one where members can actually do the work, do it in a timely manner that allows for the county committees to do the good work that they're doing. So thank you to Robin Torello and Glenn Glazer for all the work. It's a ton of work. The recommendation that this committee put forward was to approve the charters of Contra Costa, Los Angeles, and Santa Cruz County, stating that they are in compliance. They also recommended that we not approve the counties of Mono, Solano, Sonoma, and Yuba County because they didn't find that their bylaws were in compliance. They are working with those counties to help bring them into compliance so that their endorsement can count as the party's endorsement. The next report we heard was from the Chartered Organizations Subcommittee, and the committee recommended the approval of the statewide charters stating that they're fully compliant. And those charters include Brownie and Mary Democrats of California, California Democratic Rental Council, Democrats for Israel of California, and Iranian Democrats of California. The committee also approved a new statewide chartered org of the California Armenian American Democrats. Bless you. So we also heard from the Subcommittee on Endorsements. I won't bore you with those details. We had a special testimony hearing on Friday from the Miscellaneous Issues Subcommittee, and this has been an ongoing discussion about virtual versus in-person e-boards. We hear you. We are trying to modernize the party. We want to make it as inclusive and accessible and cost-effective for many of you. So if you have additional testimony, I know all of you couldn't make it on Friday. We are taking testimony through the rules page. So go to rules. There's a button for you to submit that testimony. We want to hear from you on how we can successfully make some of these processes, especially caucus meetings, virtual, hybrid. We need your input because we can't come up with all these ideas. So again, cadem.org/rules. Send your testimony to us, please. Let's see. We also had a report from the Subcommittee on Standing Committees. And let's see. Then we had two bylaw amendments. Oh, did you have?
Madam Chair, I just want to, as the chair of the Chartered Org Subcommittee, I want to note that we modified the report yesterday. You said the Iranian American Democrats, and it was the Armenian American Democrats.
So it was listed twice under existing, and then under new as Armenian American.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so we also had two bylaw proposals before us. One that was proposed by Blue Revolution California, that was referred to the Subcommittee on Miscellaneous Issues, and that has to do with the party ombudsman and the code of conduct. So if you're interested in learning more about that and speaking to it, come see us at our next Miscellaneous Issues Subcommittee. There was another proposal by Anselmo Estrada, and that had to do with actually the proxy bylaws that we just passed now. So we're sending it back if there are other, essentially that resolution or that proposal is moot. If not, the language is not what he intended, he can come back to us. Michelle.
I just wanted to speak to that. I did that with him, with AJ, and I very much appreciate that the proxy situation, because it came up at me as the regional director. They came up with
Yes.
my delegate. But there are several other places, and I'm glad for it to continue forward to the next one. But there are other places also that undocumented folks are not able to participate.
Okay, if you want to work with, you said his name was AJ, to send us actual language. I think part of his concern is being addressed in the bylaw proposal we just passed. I don't know if all of it is. He didn't submit any actual language, so once he sends that language, we're more than happy to consider it. So if you could work with him, we really appreciate it. Lastly, we also received and filed an item for the CRC, and it had to do with the special election of regional director for the Chicano Latino Caucus. And that brings us to the conclusion of our report. Do I have a motion to approve the report? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Kobe and Valeria, for that comprehensive report, which I think speaks to all the great work that the Rules Committee is doing to make sure that we have an organization that's moving forward. Next up will be our Legislation Committee, our co-chair, Margie Granado. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, Democrats. On behalf of the Legislation Committee, I'd like to move our report, and it starts on page 3. Brief synopsis. LegCom met on Friday, the 17th, and procedurally the committee pulled and tabled 23 bills from the consent calendar that had been placed in suspense or pulled by the submitting organization or caucus. The committee held public comment, then passed on consent 67 pieces of legislation recommended for support by the CDP. Letters of support will be delivered to the authors and the organizing committee for advocacy planning following this meeting and acceptance of this report. Is there a motion to accept this report? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to the Legislation Committee and to all of you for submitting legislation and helping us to advocate on behalf of our needs. Thank you.
Next up will be our report from our Finance Committee, our Controller, Carolyn Fowler.
Greetings, thank you. First, I want to begin by thanking those of you who attended the Compliance Learning Circle. I particularly want to thank at this time Vincent Jones, who's our training director, and though she'll be leaving, we're going to miss her dearly, India Thomas, our training manager. They've been relentless on making sure that you got this information, so I definitely wanted to acknowledge that. Also, for those of you who participated in our DEM 2024 bingo last night, hosted, I hope you're up, hosted by Treasurer Fiona Ma and Assemblymember Tina McKenna. I saw a lot of moves that I've never seen before on that dance floor. But we thank those legislators for supporting our efforts. Our DEM 2024 booth this weekend recruited 30 new donors and made $700 in donations, so thank you. This committee is committed to supporting our grassroots fundraising initiatives. DEM 2024 and the Trailraiser, with 6 regional new offices open, supporting our targeted congressional seats, and we have a lot of work cut out for us. The finance team met yesterday and we established our quorum, but I must say that we were deeply disappointed to learn that out of 390 executive board members, 223 are not DEM 2024. So that's not funny to me. We only ask $7 a month, $84 a year, and it's really important that you sign up today. This is a mark of your leadership. You have to lead by example. I also attended the organizing meeting yesterday, and I was blown away by what they have accomplished. And so what we have to do, this money has been very important in accomplishing what has to happen between now and November. So I'm looking forward to your future signing up today. I'll repeat that. Support their efforts. We're also working in conjunction with Rules, as you heard earlier from Valeria, on potential hybrid meetings, and we did receive and participated in testimony to that end, so that we have effective, operational, and cost ongoing dialogue. Valeria told you how you can submit your information and ideas on our website. So please submit those recommendations. People gave their personal stories of what's working. They need to know what's working, how it's working, so that we can all benefit from that. Finally, I want to talk about the Eric Bradley Blue Grant. Several people weren't even aware that we did that, so I think that's important. I did have a slide, but we'll worry about that later. Just so you know, Eric Bradley was a dedicated Democrat. He worked so tirelessly in his community of Long Beach. And one of his main things, though, was not only getting Democrats elected, but making sure our youth had opportunities and understood the importance of organizing with us. And that is how we established the Eric Bradley Blue Grant. The application, people ask me, mid-November is usually when we open the applications, and we close it by January 31st. Normally, the party commits $5,000 to the projects that are submitted and selected. I want to share with you that this year, because the committee made a goal, I personally made a goal of trying to increase that every year. We did, thanks to Reproductive Freedom, my friend Shannon donated another $1,000, so we had $6,000 to add to the pot. And there are 10 projects that we selected. So if you are a winner of one of those, please stand. There's some of them are here. Thank you. And each organization will have a mentor from the committee to ensure that their projects are successful, and they have someone to reach out to. We did make those assignments yesterday as well. So as we closed our meeting, we all did a DEM 2024 text bank to thank all of our donors that had contributed to our efforts this year. I want to acknowledge the finance team. They worked very hard. Could you please stand if you are a member of the finance team? Please thank these people. And equally important is the staff that supports our efforts. Camille Akala, who's our finance director, Katie DeFont, who's our finance manager, and we were blessed to have an intern who is a senior and graduated. She was a senior, she's graduating, Naomi Tanaka from USC, so fight on. This concludes my report. Thank you, have safe travels, and I'll look forward to those donations.
Thank you, Madam Controller. If you remember yesterday, she walked up to money, 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 money. Give me my money, you know. Next up, in our last, certainly last but not least, is our organizing report, Brandon Zavala.
Good morning. There we go. First and foremost, I would be remiss if I did not say, as a former co-chair of the Resolutions Committee, on behalf of everyone here, I hope, Aggie Kessler, Kenneth Armstrong, thank you for all your hard work. With that said, I'm Brandon Zavala from Los Angeles County and one of the co-chairs of the organizing committee, along with Martha Garcia and Cecilia Manolga. If you are a member of this committee, please raise your hand. Thank you for your work. We love you. As California Democrats, we know that the path to winning back the House runs through our state. From the sun-soaked streets of Palm Springs to the Joshua trees of the Antelope Valley, stretching nearly the length of the Central Valley from Sacramento County to the farming communities of Bakersfield. Our mission is clear: to earn the votes of hardworking families, the backbone of our communities, folks who work their fingers to the bone to build a better life for themselves and their loved ones. Our work is more than just making phone calls and knocking on doors. As we talked about yesterday, it's about having real, heartfelt conversations about the issues that matter most and demonstrating how our party aligns with the values of our communities and vision for a brighter future. The stakes of this election are monumental. Failure is simply not an option for us, and we on the organizing committee are putting in the hard work needed to elect Democrats up and down the ballot in November. And this weekend, we heard inspiring updates from our 5 priority California regions: the Central Valley, North Los Angeles County, Northern California, the Inland Empire, and Orange County. We are registering and engaging voters ahead of the November election with tireless efforts in canvassing, phone banks, volunteer recruitment, voter registration, and even convening action councils across the state. And together, the party's efforts have already reached out to over 1 million voters and targeted red to blue seats. And this incredible achievement is thanks to the dedication of fantastic organizers like our fearless, forever organizing director, the incomparable Cassandra Chavez. And in the fall, these races may very well be decided by just a handful of votes per precinct in communities across California. Trust me, I know what it feels like to be on the opposite end of 333 votes on Election Day. But we must run through the tape, pushing ourselves to the very end, because we know our democracy is on the line. Relief for working families feeling the pinch of rising rents and higher grocery costs is at stake, and the future of our nation, perhaps our planet, hangs in the balance. And while Republicans in the House beat us to the punch and already fired Kevin McCarthy, his values are still alive in their conference. For our House candidates, their victories will decide whether, instead, we send Hakeem Jeffries to be the next Speaker of the House. So winning Congress will take back all of us, will take all of us, working together with unwavering resolve. So, with that, I have one ask. Go to CADEM.org, click Take Action, and I hope to see you at a canvas or virtual phone bank soon. Election Day is in 169 days. Let's go win. Thank you.
Great job. Great job, brother.
Thank you for that great organizing report. Yesterday, we took a moment to reflect upon the great work of one of our own, a great Democrat, a great leader, a great organizer, Peggy Moore. But she is not the only great Democrat that we have lost since we last met. And so we want to take a moment to remember each and every one of them. Can we play? Isidore Hall is still with us. It will be corrected. Maybe it was his father, or maybe it's the senior, Isidore Hall Sr. Isidore Hall Jr., that many of us have interacted with, is still with us. Yeah. I was like, holy shit, what did I miss? Oh. Well, while we have a moment of levity, I think we should remember each and every one of the great Democrats who just scrolled before us and all the work that they did. A couple names in particular. on that list that I noticed. Ray Cordova, who was a great veteran, a great Democrat, Southern California, and Delane Easton is a name, amongst many others. We have a couple of reports remaining in our meeting today. Certainly, we talked yesterday about Older Americans Month, and I want to thank our Senior Caucus Chair, Mike Fowler, for his presentation. But the work that older Americans have done and continue to do is for the next generation. And certainly the California Young Democrats are helping to lead the way for the next generation. And so I want to invite up the president, the chair, the president, the boss of the California Young Democrats, Gio Chavez. Let's give him a big, big round of applause.
Good morning, California Democrats. How are we doing? First of all, please join me in congratulating our newest young DNC member, Mr. Jason Park. The stakes for young Democrats in this election could not be higher. The choices between the two major presidential candidates could not be clearer, and the need for young Democrats could not be stronger. Young Democrats' involvement in the political process is now more important than ever. Activating young folks in disadvantaged communities and others who have been forgotten and abandoned by our political system is now more important forever. It will be the key to defeating this rising tide of right-wing fascism. During the primary election, Young Democrats did our part in talking to voters from the federal to the local level, from the Inland Empire to the Central Valley to Orange County. Young Democrats went above and beyond to make sure voters know when you vote Democratic, you vote for democracy. When you vote Democratic, you vote for workers' rights and reproductive rights and LGBTQI+ rights. When you vote Democratic, you vote to protect the world we live in and the people that inhabit it. A vote for Donald Trump and the Republicans is a vote for abortion bans. It's a vote for more dead trans children. It's a vote for lawlessness and tyranny. And it's a vote to end our democracy. And young Democrats will determine the fate of our democracy. This election will present a choice that'll change the course of history. And my fellow Democrats, young voters would choose progress. Young voters would choose to move forward, not to turn back the clock. From protests at college campuses to voter registration drives to running for office, young Democrats are energized and activated. And our party needs to harness this energy and excitement. We need to communicate and reiterate to young activists and voters why the Democratic Party is the party of economic equality, the party of social fairness, the party of corporate accountability, the party of reproductive rights, the party of civil rights, and the party with a foreign policy rooted in diplomacy and human rights. From achieving a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, to protecting the environment, to eliminating the cost of higher education, to taking on police brutality. We as Democrats have to be willing to have conversations with young voters about why our party would deliver for all of us. These are difficult conversations, but as leaders, the fate of our democracy depends on our ability to assemble a wide and deep coalition that will reject fascism. My commitment as president of the California Young Democrats is this. We'll continue organizing. We'll continue motivating. We'll continue working with young voters to support President Joe Biden, to keep the Senate, to take back the House. In our state, we will work to keep our legislative majorities, and at the local level, we will play a pivotal role in electing elected officials who represent inclusive, pro-housing, and progressive policies. These are the values of the Democratic Party. This is what's at stake in this election. We can't afford to sit on the sidelines, and we will not back down to Donald Trump and his odious machinery. Together, not only will we protect the legacies of the New Deal and the Great Societies, but we will build a future we can be proud of. And that, my fellow Democrats, is worth fighting for. So let's keep knocking on doors. Let's keep hitting the phones. Let's finish strong. Let's leave it all on the line. And together we will win. Thank you, Democrats.
All right, next up will be a report from our caucuses, our Labor Caucus Chair, Astrid Zuniga. Let's give her a hand.
All right, I'm a little short, sorry. Good morning, siblings. It's an honor to be here. I love seeing all my folks and my fellow Democrats. This is an honor to stand here on behalf of the rest of my caucus chairs and their boards. Many of the caucuses have met over this last week and discussing the many issues that impact us all, right? Whether it be a wide variety of issues from the impacts of seniors and our disability communities, our children, LGBTQ rights, our communities of color, and discussing issues of equality and equity, issues of AI and the impact on businesses and workers, and reproductive rights, and the list goes on. We all have a lot of work to do as we approach November, and I know many of us have things that are near and dear and passionate to each of us, but these are all issues that impact everyone. Everyone in this room, in our communities, their families, in all of our lives. So let's strap on our boots, get out there, knock on those doors, and get this shit done. Thank you, guys.
And to deliver our DNC report is our chair from Orange County and DNC member, Ada Briseño.
Democrats, on behalf of the 2024-2028 California delegation, thank you so much for your incredible turnout of 98% yesterday. Thank you. We also want to thank the outgoing members who served us proudly from 2022 to 2024, and we want to welcome the new participants and the new members. August 19th to the 22nd in Chicago, our chair, Rusty Hicks, will lead our delegation, only the largest delegation in the country with 497 participants. We will renominate our president and vice president. We will lay out what's at stake in our country and the hard work that we need to do to unite ourselves with our shared values, protect our democracy and freedoms, and create a great future for all Americans. We will proudly uplift our platform of building a strong and fair economy, of achieving universal and affordable quality health care, of reforming our criminal legal system, of LGBTQ rights, achieving racial justice and equity, protecting and enforcing voting rights, immigration reform, providing a world-class education everywhere, and much, much more. We will work hard to turn every stone and engage as many voters throughout the nation and re-elect our president and vice president, and of course, take the House. We must flip California 3 with Jessica Morse. We need California 13 with Adam Gray. In the 22nd, we need Rudy Salas. The 27th, George Whiteside. California 40th, Joe Kerr. In the 41st, Will Rollins. And in the 45th, Derek Tran. We have got to hold on to Josh Harder. Take Katie Porter's seat with Dave Min. And continue with 49, Mike Levin. Democrats, we are in this together. We will together protect our democracy, and I'll end just like I end many things. Sí se puede. Thank you.
Well, that concludes our meeting this morning. I want to thank all of our officers, our regional directors, our party leaders. Let's thank our staff once again, led by Yvette Martinez and her great work. And I want to thank all of you who have joined us this weekend to do the important work of our party. But the important work of our party now shifts outside these walls to the streets. So let's get to work, Democrats. Do I have a motion to adjourn? A second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.